Right. Cool.
We're live, by the way.
Hey, look, it's me.
Audio off on that.
All right.
It's me muted.
Should be. All right, cool. Jumping in for another dish of Glad You Game Pod. And let me answer everybody's wild question. If you're watching this video, I know what your first thought is. And the answer is yes. I am a visor guy now. We're trying it out. Feels pretty good. Turns out I look pretty damn good with a visor. I never thought of wearing a visor in my life until, like, I saw this clip of John Gruden at the Eagles coaching camp with Randall Cunningham in '94 or like something like that over the weekend. He's wearing a starter visor.
All the countless bad examples. That was the one that you're like.
That's why I never wore one before this. But then I saw this. I was like, there can be good examples. And it was a starter one, which I was like, is starter even a company anymore? They're like, wait, with a star. It had like the S in the star. You saw it in like a bunch of sports clothes as a kid. They are, well, they still sell some stuff on Amazon. I didn't go down that route. This is not a starter visor. It's an Adidas. But it's actually like, it's like a lightweight flex fit. It actually feels really nice. And it's nice to get like, you get the sun out of your eyes, but then you still get like your hair feels good. Cause like when I was like, we put up some of the security cameras today, put on one of them outside. It's like 90 fucking degrees today.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, the visor was way better than wearing my normal hat because it was keeping the sun out of my eyes, but I was getting airflow like through my head, whereas the hat kind of traps it and holds the heat in. This was letting the heat get out. So on a hot day like today, it's like I'm not trying to trap heat in. I'm trying to get it out.
So what is the point?
Perfect situation for that.
What is the point of wearing it backwards?
Oh, well, inside right now, I was just doing that. It's the same thing as wearing any hat backwards ever, right? What's the point of doing that? It's a style thing.
Still keeping your hair down.
I don't want to keep my hair down. I like keeping my hair up, but I don't want it. It's like I want the hair to breathe through this. So it's like the same thing as wearing a hat backwards. There's no difference. This, you get to see the flow, and the flow looks pretty good, especially that I can spike it up, which is nice because that's all I can really do when I buzz my hair. Like, I don't grow it out like you. So it's like, all you can really do with my hair, it's like it can be spiked.
Please don't spike
or
your
it
hair.
cannot. I mean, it kind of is just naturally spiked. It just sticks up. I'm not like spiking it with gel. I don't use like product in my hair, and I never will. It's just I'm too lazy. That's why I get buzz cut. I literally get buzz cuts because like I don't want to. I want to be able to like get out of the shower or out of bed, and it's just like your hair is where it needs to be. Like, it's done.
Yeah.
And I'll like put my head on my hand through my hair, and it kind of spikes it up real quick. And that's how I spike it up. And I have a double cowlick. So it's like my hair is already naturally doing like a flow.
Doing its own thing, yeah.
So I'm like, all right, because if you put product in with a double it's like I have to like, it's like every hairstylist is like, oh, you have to use this and then do that. And I'm like, if I'm spending more than 20 seconds on the hair, I was like, I'm not doing it. And they're like, you have to. I was like, no, I don't have to. I can get a buzz cut and move on with my fucking life.
Yeah.
So then now I found.
Also, probably save a lot of money on haircuts.
I do. Oh yeah, my haircuts are like 10 to 15 bucks because it's like a buzz cut. And then I used to do it myself, but you can never really get behind. Like, you can't, even with the mirror, it's difficult. And like, I know cocking, for example, one of our friends does it, and he's very good at that. He might have a very flexible arm or something, but I feel like you always still miss something. And now that we're allowed to see people again and go out, you don't want to have the bad haircut after a year of not seeing anybody, right? So it's like you got to be on point. So, and plus,
there we go.
It's
There
cheaper.
is a use for the backwards visor.
Yeah.
If you miss a couple spots on your buzz cut, just flip that bitch around and.
well, I mean, if you no, I would rather wear a hat. Then it's like you cover up any hidden hair, and it's also, I think, backwards hats and stuff like that is all the style for like people who are bald and want to hide the balding. But if you do have a flow, you just buzz it. You want to show it off a little bit. That's another reason for the visor. I mean, there's a lot of pros, and it's
the
like
anti-yarmulke.
I guess I don't want to say anti because that makes it sound like it's against. It's like we're not like against yarmulkes.
It is just the exact opposite.
Yes, I get that. I'm just saying
Not an evil
that
twin.
could have an anti-Semitic like term. My girlfriend's Jewish, so let's relax. It's we're not. I mean, we're for it. We're
The
pro-Semitic.
fact that you have to defend it makes me concerned.
Is that pro-Semitic? I guess because anti-Semitic's the bad one. I would assume.
I guess not.
Is it just, or is it just being Semitic? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, is that just like?
All right,
that stuff
enough
always
Semitic
confuses me.
semantics. Let's get going. We got a lot
Get
to
into
discuss
gaming,
today.
all right? But well, when I tell you, when you're gaming, get your Glad You Game visor, and we will make those because now I've decided I'm a visor guy. Bam, it's here forever. All right, or at least for this week. Well, let's get into it. So there's a couple updates. I think I want to get my rant out of the way early. One, because I'll forget it. Two, it's like we got a lot of cool stuff to talk about. But let's just get right into it because it's the biggest topic of the day anyways.
Mhm.
And it's not that bad of a rant. It's not going to be that bad. So we have the Sony State of Play, and it was main focus of it was Deathloop, which is a game I know you've mentioned you're looking forward to. I'm looking forward to. It looks great. Now, this game is developed by Arcane Studios, is owned by Bethesda.
Okay.
Right? This is a timed exclusive, I think until September 2022 for PS5, and then it will go to, it's console exclusive. So PC can get it, I believe, the same day as PS5,
Interesting.
but Xbox can get it in September.
Okay.
Not this September, next September. Because September 22, we're in 21.
All right. That doesn't make a difference.
Well, I did say 22, but yeah. My point for all this is they had this deal was done before Microsoft bought Bethesda. Like they were developing it's not like this game was developed in the last like 7 months and they're like, oh my God, now we got this. And so Microsoft people are like, well, not Microsoft, Xbox people are like, oh, what the fuck? But they're also trolling a bunch of Sony people like, can you imagine buying a game and it's like, oh, Xbox, Arcane and Xbox Studio presents Deathloop. It's like, way to go, Sony fanboys. You're still playing Xbox. You're still playing an Xbox game, technically, or Xbox Studios game. And everybody's talking all this shit. And the irony that they're completely missing is the Xbox people are already doing this with Sony games. Specifically, one massive Sony game that happened this year, we talked about, came out in March. The first time ever. The best baseball game ever made is MLB The Show. Xbox people begged for it. They decided to do it. MLB The Show is a PlayStation Studios game.
Okay.
Published by PlayStation Studios. That is now, as of this year, on Xbox. So they literally have a game that you buy. It says PlayStation Studios presents, blah, blah, blah. And it's, I forget the developer off the top of my head, but MLB The Show. And it's great. It was always a PlayStation exclusive before that. But yeah, it's like they're like, oh, can you imagine? It's like, yes, you're literally doing it. Like, like some of you commenting, and everybody. So it's San Diego Studios, the developer, and the publisher is Sony Interactive Entertainment. And this is the first year that it's not exclusive to Sony. It was on Xbox. It was big news. It was great. Let everybody play it. It's an awesome game. But the irony is the people are giving shit. It's like, yeah, you're the same people who were begged for MLB The Show. And now you're saying, like, can you imagine this? Like, yes, I can imagine it. You're literally doing this right now on Xbox.
Yeah.
And also, who gives a shit? Like, if they make Xbox Game Pass available on PlayStation, who gives a shit? Like, it's like the same thing. So I just thought, and granted, Twitter is always the loud minority. It's not Like there's only like what is it, like 70 or no, like 7 million or like 10 million people on Twitter? It's something like that.
Oh, like active users compared to people that have a Twitter account. Like
Yeah, and it's like so it's not even, it's like a tenth of the world's population. Everybody's like, this is where it's all at. And it's like, not really. It's just like that's where a very loud minority are.
Yeah.
And the people that bitch on Twitter are it's even a smaller minority of that are bitching about this. But it looks big because in that silo, everybody's bitching.
Yeah.
And that. So it's like you go like when they show Sony State of Play shared this, the head of Xbox was like, congrats, looking forward to some great games, and like retweeted it and was like, looking forward to some great games, including Deathloop, because and that's all he said. Everybody's like, oh, he just dunked on you and all this, and I'm like, what? Like, I was like, did Sony like say that about MLB? Like, yo, I hope you like some great games, including MLB, you bitch. Like, it's the same fucking thing. It's so it literally starts up on Xbox and it'll say a Sony Interactive Entertainment published game, and it's like, this is the same fucking thing. So it just makes no sense that. My bet is they just don't know. Also, San Diego Studio, the developer of that parent company, is Sony Interactive Entertainment. So it's not like they're just the publisher; they're also the developer. So it is a full in-house Sony game. So it's very comparable to this, except this has always been a Sony game. They didn't just buy this studio. So I just thought it was hilarious, and like that's the thing. That's the only real rant I have. It's like, just shut the fuck up, or at least if you're gonna talk like that. Make sure it is the first one and there isn't a like point blank in last 3 months reference to the exact 180 of this situation, which is MLB The Show. And by the way, which one do you think is going to sell more copies? I guarantee you
Unfortunately.
Right, but I guarantee MLB The Show has sold more or will sell more on Xbox than Deathloop on PlayStation, right? So it's like, if you want to talk about you're giving the other one money, you guys are giving Sony money. That's a fuckload of money. So it's like, I think it was on the MPDs. So it's like, because it was like one you would never guess. Yeah. So it's like, what the fuck are you talking about? It's like, oh my God, it pisses me off because I'm like, that the fact that you don't realize that, you're so stupid. And I guess at some point I almost have to treat it like I can't even get annoyed anymore. I treat it like a child. I'm like, you just don't know yet. You just don't have that knowledge. Right, you didn't take the time to learn.
You don't have the experience.
Yeah, you didn't think about the full situation because you're so focused on this. You're not realizing, oh wow, my exact argument has literally been in play in the exact opposite of this for 4 months now. It was in March, and it's like that is, to me, it's just so crazy to me that that's the case. It was, or sorry, not March. It was April 20th, but still, so it's even more recent that this happened, and it's like that's a little weird, but yeah, so I thought that was, I just thought that was hilarious. So it's like, you better, what's the term, it's like people throw glass houses, throw stones, or whatever.
People in glass houses should not throw stones.
Should not throw stones. That's, I think, a perfect analogy for this. It's like, well, you are the glass house because you're literally doing this. It's like, how, it's like, I would never do that. It's like, do you have MLB The Show? Because I guarantee you enough of that minority population does.
Yeah.
And it's like, so shut the fuck up. And also, it looks like a great fucking game. Now, the one thing I will say, which some people are saying is negative, I don't know if it's official or anything, but people are saying because Arcane is now owned by Microsoft, if Deathloop is successful, Deathloop 2 will be a sole exclusive to Xbox. So they're like, we can't get that excited about it because you get the time exclusive on PS5, but then you'll just never get the other way.
Yeah.
I can't say that's impossible. It's definitely possible because they could.
Yeah.
I don't think it would make a ton of sense because if it made a lot of sales, they're going to be like, well, we want more sales, and they pay just like us.
Yeah.
It's kind of how Sony did with MLB The Show. They're like, well, we're probably going to make more money. Because and MLB was pushing on them.
This is still America, and people do still like to make money.
Yeah, it's a capitalist market. So they're like, while everybody sees this, like, if you look at it on a high zoomed up level, there's this console war and things like that. If you zoom in even a tiny bit, they don't fucking care about each other.
Yeah.
They do, but they use it for marketing clout. That's it. And then they're also like, great job on the game. There is no real war between the two. And they're also just like, hey, can I get more money from this and sell my unit? I want to push units, make money. Push units, make money. Push units, make money. Now Sony is like really cares about pushing units because Xbox is doing the ecosystem play, right? So it's like that's the only reason why Sony might care a little more about exclusives because they're like, we're trying to push that, but they're also going into the PC area now, as we know recently. So maybe that will change and kind of be the Sony ecosystem as well.
Yeah.
And then it's going to be, then they'll both be essentially SaaS, right? Which is software as a service, where it's literally Xbox Game Pass and PS Now, right? And they'll maybe boost up PS Now. Which, by the way, I went through the PS Now catalog.
Yeah.
It
What
is
are we looking
very comparable to Xbox Game Pass. They just don't do the game day one releases of like first party.
Okay.
But for like third party game stuff, they have a ton, and they're adding more like monthly. But if they started doing the biggest thing is Game Pass does the day one of like these AAA titles you want, like Halo Infinite is gonna be day one, right? So you're like, fuck yeah, I want to get in on that. So they don't do that. If they started, like if God of War Ragnarok was day one PS Now, then it's like now you're kind of getting into that conversation.
Yeah.
But they do have a pretty extensive library, which I wasn't totally sure about. It needs to shore up a little bit, but they actually do have that. So like, yeah, maybe they're both just going to be SaaS, which is software as a service, and they just be like, we'll make a console if you guys want it, because you don't want to buy a comparable PC. Costs more, so we can make a shitload, get lower, cheaper components, and kind of like give it that way, and then we'll get more money, an actual revenue stream. But then really be treating our first party titles as software as a service, which is just distributing the titles over the cloud.
Yeah.
Which is exactly what Game Pass is doing, and it's what PS Now was doing, but not as marketably successful because they weren't doing it with day one first party exclusives. So
Okay.
That could be something interesting. But either way, I don't know, but so could Deathloop 2 potentially be exclusive to the Xbox? Sure, definitely. I mean, we know Starfield's going to be, right? But that's not a sequel to anything.
Yeah.
There's rumors Outer Six Scrolls, maybe. I really fucking doubt that. Do you know how much money they made from Skyrim on like a bazillion consoles? Like PS4, PS4 Pro, PS5, Xbox One, Xbox, all the Xbox, PC. Switch. It's even on the Echoes. Like the Amazon Echo shows they have like verbal Skyrim. It's on mobile. Skyrim has been remade like 40,000 times on like everything, and everybody's bought it a billion times. So it's like they would be shooting themselves in the foot making that exclusive. I get it with new IP, but existing IP, it's like you have that customer base. You want to make sure to get it because maybe some will transfer over to Xbox Game Pass, and that's what they're hoping for. Maybe some won't. So if they might be like, we just want to insure that money, and they're still paying us just the same, which they are, right? Because it's like these guys are going to get Elder Scrolls 6 with Game Pass. Sony's not. They're going to have to pay $70 for just that game as opposed to paying it through Game Pass, which actually is probably better overhead for them because it's direct for the one specific game as opposed to
I always
a
wonder
general
how
solution.
those like price structures work out anyway, where it's like if you're paying for Game Pass and you play 50% of your time that month is spent on one game, is that game getting 50% of your money that you spent on that? Like how much is Xbox, Microsoft just taking off the top? How much is like actually diverted to like new games being brought to the platform and what have you? Because that's like something that could really change how it works. That's what your big problem with Spotify was in the beginning, that all these like people were signing contracts for how their music sales were going to go over and their CD sales. And then it was just like fractions of a penny for any kind of like digital sales because no one thought that was going to be a thing. Right. And then 5, 10, 15 years later, it's like, oh yeah, you're on Spotify getting played like hundreds of times per user per month and getting like 3 cents per overall stream, because you just weren't able to negotiate for it because it wasn't a thing when you signed your initial contract.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. So I don't know how the economics work out of it. I would assume it's a percentage based. Like if you have what X number of percentage of total like Game Pass is played on Skyrim, they're going to give her a bigger piece of the pie. There has to be some dependable monthly fee that they're like, we're at least getting this month.
You'd like to think,
but I don't know. But yeah, you would think there would be something like that. Because there has to be like Spotify has deals with like this many streams means this much money, this many streams means this much money. Because that was a big thing with like why Taylor Swift didn't do it for a while, and stuff. So yeah, I don't know, but So could Deathloop 2 be exclusive? Maybe. I doubt it. I just think they'll be like that guarantees that developer, that piece of the developer, which is part of Xbox Game Studios, that revenue stream, just like it does with Sony with MLB The Show. They're like, that guarantees you a revenue stream from a different area. I think that's all it is.
Yeah.
So we'll see. That was interesting. But anyways, so that was my rant. I mean, it was just, which wasn't terrible. But yeah, I mean, it's just like, you do this with MLB The Show, shut the fuck up. Like, if they didn't and it was the first time, I get it. But it's not. And literally your argument is immediately retracted from April of this year. So shut up. Get the fuck over it. And yeah, we're going to like Deathloop. It's an Xbox Studios game. Guess what? They can make great games. Why? Well, they haven't always been an Xbox Studio game, so let's not get in that. But the only one that has been for a long time is 343, which has made quite shit games, but hopefully Halo won't suck. So we'll find out. Because the other Halos did suck.
We will find out.
The Halos that don't suck were Bungie, who don't work for Xbox anymore. They make Destiny, which is very successful by itself. We'll see. But anyway, so Deathloop itself, let's get into. So it was kind of like a 20-minute gameplay demo. It was pretty cool. I mean, the game was always really interesting. It's kind of roguelike in the fact that you like die and kind of come back.
Yeah.
But
it seems a little more locked in.
It seems like, what's the game? It's their other game. Dishonored.
Okay.
It's like Dishonored plus kind of like a roguelike. And there's a third, which isn't a roguelike's not a game, it's a genre. But I'm trying to think of the other game. But it's kind of like an amalgamation of like three different things, like maybe Doom.
Yeah.
Oh, like Wolfenstein.
Okay.
But I think it looks great, and I like the campy humor it has, and I think the cool loop is that like random players can jump in your game and like assassinate you.
Was the biggest thing that I was like really.
And like they can now fuck
that,
with you and disguise themselves as whoever.
Yeah.
And
I think it's the one person that like is the one that chases you the whole time.
Right. It could be a PC or
yeah,
an AI. And that the cool part about that is like they can be anywhere.
Yeah.
With that, and like it ends with that person killing.
Yes. Yep.
The guy, and it's like that would piss me off so much because he's like done the mission, and it's like bang, you're dead. You're
Yep.
Like, fuck. So that's pretty cool. It's kind of like how Bloodborne did a similar thing where you could kind of jump in someone else's blood, which that game is like, because it's so unrelenting itself, and then jumping in with that is like fuck you, like get the fuck out of here, dude.
Yep.
But I think it looks pretty cool. It also like kind of keep talking and nobody explodes.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh no, the other one, the spy one that you beat.
I expect you to die.
I expect you to die. Those are
it gave me very big I expect you to die vibes, especially the music.
The art style and the music. Yes. Yeah. So what did you think of the thing?
I mean, it made me even more excited. I thought it was going to be great to begin with, and it's just those little tweaks like having somebody else jump in your game and toy with stuff. I also have a big feeling that the order in which you kill people is going to make a big difference, so that like you get shown like one mission where you're trying to take out this leader of like one of the areas, and I don't want to say it seemed too easy. It's also because like it's somebody that obviously knows what they're doing, is basically speed running, where they're like opening a door and they're already aiming at somebody that's across the map with their sniper. So like they've played this a couple times before. They're obviously trying to make it as quickly as you can run through.
Right.
But I have a feeling that if you like take out different targets in different orders, that the whole rest of the gameplay will kind of like change around that, where it basically each person you're looking after or trying to kill is going to have a different set of parameters that change with who's protecting them, where they end up, how much like guards they have around them. I doubt it's just going to be like 8 different things that you can go around and tackle in whatever order you want. You'll have that openness, but I feel like the difficulty is going to scale in a way that you're going to have to like relearn all the areas over and over again.
Yeah, I agree with that.
At least that's what I'm hoping.
I'm trying to pull up my Twitter account right now, so it's just going to be like Sage looks weird because
it's just me.
to get for the next topic here. So I'm going to have to. I guess go off camera, but because I don't remember my password. Well, because like on the iPhone, it's like hardwired in, so you don't
Yeah,
have to like
yep.
log in. It's just
Yeah.
like built into it. So unless you do that, it's
You can use your face.
yeah. So I did want to have one thing, but I want us to finish about Deathloop first before I went into it.
Yeah.
So are we finished about Deathloop? And
I
then-
mean, the other two things are I just love the mechanics of your like teleporting and then your telekinesis where you could just like throw people off the edge, and they seem to have a lot of
that
cool
was sick. That was
ways
really
that
cool.
you
Yes.
can. There was one where you like teleport, and as soon as you get to the other end, you just like knee some guy in the chest, and he goes flying off a cliff. Or you like teleport over someone, and you can interrupt it to attack them like midway through. And there were definitely some kind of like brutal kills in there too. I wasn't really expecting it. I thought it was going to be a little more cartoony, but I guess it's real Borderlands-esque where some of it's goofy, some of it's campy, but at the end of the day, it's like, oh yeah, we're still cutting people's heads off and blowing people apart and stuff like that, and they let you see it.
That is pretty crazy. Although, actually, that reminds me of a video I watched recently about dismemberment in games, and it was comparing Rockstar versus.
Just your casual Thursday night video, dismemberment in games.
Well, it was it's called Gameology, and they were comparing Last of Us, so Rockstar, which is Grand Theft Auto, compared to Naughty Dog.
Okay.
And it was comparing those two games, Last of Us Part 2 and Red Dead Redemption 2. And it was like, can you dismember? And it's like, yes. And then it's, can you pet the dog? And it had like all these crazy things and show you like the craziness of like, how long does it take a body to decay? What happens when you do this? It doesn't decay.
Huh.
And basically Naughty Dog was like 9 out of the 10 and Rockstar was 10 out of the 10. Because Rockstar was doing like this one additional use case, but that's because they've been updating RDR2 and like Grand Theft Auto Online, like crazy.
Okay. Yep.
Because basically it applied whatever they did in Grand Theft Auto to it, and it's just like the shit that they did. One, it's like to think about, but two, to do like, oh, now we have to do this in this use case and this use case, like was wild. Like they thought of like literally everything, or something someone kept doing it as a joke online, and they're like, we got to fix that. And because they've been supporting shit for so long,
Yeah, that doesn't count.
so I think it would have to be the release version of it,
Yeah.
not like the current. But they were using the current version of it, so
Interesting.
I won't be like this for a while. But I'm resetting my Twitter password.
Damn, we really want to get on Twitter today. You got to respond to some trolls.
That's right.
I feel like we should just clip your rants and just that'll be your reply to
Fuck
everyone's
you.
dumb
Fuck
shit on
you.
there.
Fuck you. You stupid motherfucker. No, I'm almost there.
What are you looking for on
I'm also
Twitter?
like mentally having to be like, do not verbally. Sorry, you know when you type in,
say your thing out loud.
you're like
so the whole internet knows.
XX72. Yes. All right. All right. Never mind. No one heard that. It's like, what the hell are you talking about? So that's definitely something. Let's go. All right. Cool. Back on that Twitter, and then I should be able to get on this Twitter.
Oh, double twittering.
Double twittering. All right.
I do need
and,
to pick which side.
Well, I need to
show
read.
up
I need to
online.
read something off Twitter, and okay, cool. We're on. All right, that was exhilarating content right there. Love it. Also,
Whoa. Just right up in there.
what up? Nice to meet you. Thank you for jumping in the stream. We appreciate it. What's going on? All right, so I think we're good. Is that how I look? The visor's on point. The visor's on point, boys. We're good. All right. Now. Oh, you've got to be kidding me.
What's up? What?
I did all that to add. God damn it.
They delete a comment or something?
I did all of that to add my personal account on my laptop because I thought that's where the DMs were.
Yeah.
They're on the Glad You Game account. But that one, I believe I actually have. I know that password.
Don't say it. Don't
I'm-
say it out
I'm-
loud.
It's Super Jesus 45.
Super Jesus.
Well, I don't even know why that came into my head, but that would be a great password. No, not anymore. But it would have been a good.
Dude, that's the thing is I've had so many good
So many
passwords,
super Jesus.
but then I had to like yell them out like at work or something like that to let someone onto my computer, and pretty disappointed. My favorite was UB40 red wine.
Oh, that's pretty good.
It satisfied the uppercase for UB, and then
Okay.
yeah, it's just
Oh, thanks, Emberg. Just started following us.
Heyo.
Also, fuck off, Emberg. Really? Just started following us. It's one of our frat brothers who probably didn't even know we had this. All right, that one I did know the password immediately, so we're good. Also, could have saved me a ton of time, but now I can look at both of these on here. Anyways, all right. Sorry for the delay. Sorry I had to listen for Sage that long. I apologize. No. All right.
I need my own rants.
Yeah. Well,
Fuck
okay.
Deathloop. I don't want to do the same level over and over again. You think it's fun for me to just rewind over and over? No, but it really does. Like, they offer a lot of mechanics in that make it not miserable to have to do the same thing over and over. That being said, I mean, shit, that's Mario right there. Like,
All right.
you go back to the beginning all the time.
Okay. So this goes back to last week. Last week we were talking about indie devs getting fucked over by PlayStation, and I was like, Xbox does this as well. It's not a console thing. It's
Everybody's
like the market.
fucking.
It's the market thing. So, I also said, hey, if there's any indie devs on, and if I have anything wrong, correct me. Feel free to come on or whatever. So I started talking to one of the indie devs. His name's Eric Freeman. We weren't able to connect this week, so he kind of wrote me something. It's long, but I'll read it. So basically, Eric Freeman developed a game called Deja Vu, and he did it through ID at Xbox program.
Word.
Which is the indie developer program at Xbox. ID at Xbox. Pretty straightforward. Provided us with 2 free dev kits, multiple contracts on their team for certain questions, account management, marketing, general support. When it came time to reschedule the release, we talked with several people about what made that, about what theme, genre the game was, and what they made sure the release window without competing games, finding so that it doesn't release with competing games. And they advised against certain weeks that would be busy with other releases. Everything from setting up a pre-order window. God, they're so long. I keep getting lost. I got to do the thing where I put the cursor in.
Yep.
From setting up a pre-order window to a launch discount was discussed and was free of charge. When the game was launched, it was visible directly on the front page of the store, Xbox store. My pin post on Twitter is Danielle and I am posting in front of the store with our little game right there in Minecraft. He has on his Twitter. It's him showing off Deja Vu on the Xbox store page.
Awesome.
Which is awesome, and I'm sure it was an incredible feeling and
Yeah.
a great achievement to see your game on there. I'll talk about Deja Vu after this, but the new release list was an actual list of newly released games instead of awaiting new and trending like Steam. So Steam does new release trending. Deja Vu never reached front of the page of Steam. About 10 months later, ID at Xbox sent out details for upcoming sales, and when we requested to be included in one of them, a marketing employee emailed us back saying we'd get more visibility in weekly deals and gold sale. We agreed on that date, and now we were one of the few indie titles visible on there. Send me the link, and if you go there, you can see Deja Vu pops up. In the first day of being with the deals with gold sale, we doubled the amount of copies we sold on our launch day. Besides their cut for sales, we've never have been asked for money, and anybody on Idea Dev have been incredibly nice and responsive. So they didn't pay shit other than the percentage it takes,
All
which
right.
is probably about 30%, I believe, is what we were talking about before.
Yeah.
So that's not 25K. Now, this is also something he wanted to point out. We've never launched on PlayStation, so I can only speak to my experience on Xbox. However, take a look at my pin tweet. It's us, standing in front of that. And the way I found Eric was because he was commenting on a lot of this stuff, being like, hey, the Kotaku article saying Xbox has a similar payment scale. He's like, that's not at least my experience.
Okay. Yeah.
Saying, additionally, and he also want to say it also goes beyond the 25K though, which is kind of what he's talking about. He got the dev kits for free. They got the emails with the marketing team, met with the marketing team about when's a good week to release, when's not a good week to release, getting with sales, getting front page visibility, incredible responsiveness from them. Another thing is that Xbox has absolutely amazing communication, and their web portal is great. Pre-COVID, I was getting invited to meetups with them at industry events and was alerted about upcoming sales in way advance. When they reached out, they offer us a spot in deals with gold. It was literally in less than 4 hours after my initial email. The devs who worked with PlayStation said they wait weeks or months for responses sometimes.
Damn.
He said, and this is that's the real issue. I might have some time next, and then we tried to get him on the pod this week. He's incredibly busy. So I was like, don't worry about it. All that. And also he did want to correct, pre-COVID only applies to industry events, where he's like, when we're still getting worried about upcoming sales. He's not trying to say like anything, you know.
Yeah, we didn't get flown out somewhere on a monthly basis.
Right. Yeah. He was just, so basically just like when he could go meet with people, obviously before we hit a pandemic, you know. But that's pretty cool. So I told him if we can't meet, that's fine. I would just read off exactly what I did. I know I kind of get sidetracked sometimes. I was trying to find what I was writing, and it was a lot, obviously. But no, yeah. So, I mean, that's kind of like, hey, in the initial response when we saw what we read from a Kotaku, at least I was wrong. Sage was wrong because he's lumped in with me. We were wrong.
Never wrong.
But yeah, I mean, that's kind of it. So it's kind of, that is, so maybe Xbox does have a similar pay structure from wherever Kotaku was talking about.
Yeah.
But from Eric Freeman, developer of Deja Vu, not his experience. It sounds like a very easy, stress-free, helpful experience.
Yeah.
And that they were able to get it. And it sounds like Xbox is incredibly supportive of indies, which I wasn't saying they weren't. I was just saying they did a similar thing, but apparently they don't do the charge, which is awesome. The other benefit, like you said, is it's really not the $25K. It's the communication.
How long it takes it,
it's
yeah.
the communication. Send an email, and then within 4 hours, they're like, hey, yeah, we'll talk about deals with gold. Let's get this done. And now devs that he talked to have issues with Sony, like it's weeks later, right?
Yeah.
A long time. Like that's fucked up. That's not okay. He's on the
time
store
is
page.
money, and if you're paying and still getting like the cold shoulder, like that's
right. And he didn't pay
inexcusable.
to get on the new release page. It's not a trending thing. It's just a new release thing. So, which is kind of nice where Steam, it's like new releases, but it's hot and trending. Like, so you're only going to get it if also you're getting a ton of downloads and exposure. This is like, this fucking came out like this week.
Yeah.
Look at this. That was cool. You didn't pay any extra for that. Deals with gold because he was one of the first indies on there or whatever. He's blasted on that page too, which Deja Vu, which is fucking awesome. So I mean, yeah. So I mean, it sounds like Xbox really does know their shit when it comes to indies. And that it doesn't seem, at least for Eric's case, that there is not that similar payment structure. So I'm not ready to fully backpedal that because like it's one develop. I don't know the rest, and Kotaku, I doubt just printed that with zero information.
You'd like to hope, yeah.
But they might have, and that's what we're banking on, is that Kotaku is not some just bullshit rag.
Yeah.
Because it's been around for a while, but maybe it is, whatever. But I will say, that certainly opened my eyes up, and like you said, I kind of agree with Eric. It's not the $25K. It's like, you want to know if I'm deploying my game on your system, I want to know I'm cared about and respected enough that like you're answering my questions, and you have a team that has enough capacity to handle the requests.
Yeah.
Now, is it that there's more indies on PlayStation and maybe that's why they can't get back for a week? I don't know. Or is it they don't have hire enough people? Who the fuck knows?
Yeah.
The point is they obviously treat indie devs with respect on at Xbox in this case, because if Eric's emailing him 4 hours later, he's getting a response. That's great.
Yeah.
If they're helping him, be like, don't release this week because you got these other similar games coming out. We want you to have like a pedestal here.
Yep.
Don't release it. Here's a perfect time to release. We'll get that, and then we'll hook you up with sales. That's all great. And the fact that they're like, hey, we're having an industry event. You're invited. You're one of our indie dev guys. That's fucking cool because it creates that synergy, and like you talk with maybe you develop another game with another developer, which is excellent. So yeah. So like I said, we weren't able to get him on, but he did write me this. So thanks, Eric. Appreciate that.
Hell yeah.
Also check out Deja Vu.
Tell us a little about it.
Yeah, so I'm going to pop up the link you sent. I did check it out for a little bit before, after I talked with him, but I completely forgot the log line of this fucking thing. So I'm trying to get it the right thing. Hold on. The worst part is now the link that he sent me does not have Deja Vu on it.
Yeah, but I mean that shows you that it is like being updated. It's not just
Right.
something
Bang,
that
got it. Deja Vu game on Xbox. It's Xbox One X enhanced. Anyways, so it's Eric Freeman and Danielle Yoslov. I'm terrible with pronunciation, so I apologize, Danielle, if that's wrong. I'm sorry, but that I'm trying to get. Anyways, Deja Vu on Xbox. It's $10, $9.99. It's a really cool block puzzle and trivia game.
Okay.
So you play as this like little box that you move around, and it's kind of like I want to say it's kind of like some of the puzzles are similar, like The Witness if you played that, but it's not like the visual of you running around the world. It's more of like this box puzzle trivia kind of thing.
Yeah.
But it's under puzzles and trivia, but it's really puzzle. I mean, I didn't see any. The tagline is a minimalist puzzle game about life, death, and clones. Pretty straightforward.
Word.
And if that doesn't get you, that kind of at least that's a great, like, that is the entire paragraph about it. It's one sentence. I think that's short, sweet. It's a minimalist paragraph about it.
There you go.
$10. I did check it out. And I think it's if you like puzzles and stuff like that, it's fun. It's I think it would be easier to play on my iPhone just because of how it's structured.
Yeah.
But
does that say whether or not it was part of like the Game Jam or Game Fest from
no,
Gamers Toolkit?
This is something they were just developing themselves.
Hell yeah.
But it is in HDR10 4K.
Nice.
Again, it's the block,
Yeah.
but it's pretty cool.
There is something to be said for like having minimalist games still like super sharp.
Yeah,
where
oh,
it
yeah,
just like comes
yeah.
across clean and like why wouldn't you?
But it's kind of like you're in like I want to say an electrical circuit, and you're kind of this block moving around a circuit.
Oh, okay.
And it's like different circuits, so you have these little things you have to dodge and stuff. I didn't play a ton of it, but I talked to him, and I was like, out of respect, it's like I'll check it out.
Yeah, absolutely.
And yeah, it was fun. I would suggest anybody pick it up. It's like $10 if you like those kind of things.
Yeah.
It's really like up your
A
alley.
lot of those minimalist
it a
games
look.
end up being like kind of like a Zen thing. Like you can really just
That's what it is. Kind of. It was kind of just I could do it. I did it for like honestly probably did it for like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like I wasn't like Valorant where I'm like, fuck, I got fucking shot. How the fuck am I doing this? Fuck. And it's like it kind of relaxed me a little bit. It's still puzzle and you're like using your brain, but you're not. I'm not stressing out. I'm like,
yeah. It's
okay,
like
it's
doing like
relaxing,
yard
it's
work
nice
or
pattern.
woodwork or something
Yeah,
like that.
and it's
where,
all like
you
nice
get into a
soft
rhythm and
pattern
a-
colors. That's like, all right. It's like it's nice visually on the
Nice,
eyes,
yeah.
but it's not overbearing. But yeah, it was good. Yeah, like you said, so I would say check it out. It's called Deja Vu, Xbox Games, and is Eric Freeman and Danielle Yoslov.
Yeah.
It's Yoseloff. I think that's close.
It sounds like it.
So sorry if I'm fucking that up. That's
And
my
thank
bad.
you for hopping on and giving us some info on that. That's awesome.
Yeah, so thanks, Eric, for getting the DMs. And then if we can still work out, we'd still love to have you on and talk about Deja Vu and
Absolutely.
any more experience you have. And if you have anything coming up. If not, when we throw out the thing, I'll throw your @ in there too so people can see that. And I'll link to Deja Vu as well. Our massive user base should create some big synergy in there. But anyway, so thanks again, Eric, for responding to DMs. That's normally something you would think is like, oh, I'm in the DMs. It's like, no, this is all business. This is
Thank you for sliding in the DMs.
Yeah, sliding the DMs right there. Well, I slid in Eric's DMs. So
Oh, kinky.
I was like, 'cause I saw his comment and I was like, hey, we got a podcast and it sounds like I was wrong. Can we talk? Can you school me? Talk to
Hell
me.
yeah.
And he responded immediately. He was like Xbox's ID at Xbox. I mean, he responded immediately. So it was great. So thanks again, Eric. All right, so let's jump into some other stuff because who wants to talk about fucking indie devs, right, guys? No,
I mean me, but
I was
but
obviously
the
kidding.
big news is
No news. No, that's like a doctor thing. People say.
I mean, I don't know what you're working toward, but I know my big news for me.
You know your big news?
I mean, just Nintendo leaning.
Well, I got a bad news about that, Sage.
Uh-oh.
There's been a new Assassin's Creed announced. Assassin's Creed Infinity. I don't know what it is, but an Infinity, everybody's like, oh, let's do that. I guess it makes people think it's like
yeah.
the game's going to last forever like Destiny 2. And it's like all right. So basically Xbox Assassin's Creed Infinity is going to emulate kind of the prolonged GTA 5 online Fortnite kind of plan.
I like how both of those are put into.
This is Bloomberg's definition of it, which is a well-respected financial newsletter. So it's like, it's an interesting to put both of them together. I get what they're talking about. Is a long-running, pay-to-play online service where they can make fuckloads of bank.
Yeah.
And kind of go from that. So they confirm this is the next game they're working on. I didn't go into a lot of it because there was a whole other thing that the article kind of goes into, which is fucked up. That Ubisoft obviously lost a lot of people during the Me Too movement and scandals, and they have reorganization, all that kind of shit, which fuck all those people. Right. So, but it kind of ends with they're facing new competition for other video game companies in Montreal. So that's kind of what balked at the idea that Assassin's Creed Infinity, which is the most ambitious one yet. I think they're kind of doing this to kind of get these massive productions, and that, but they're also kind of some of the employees are tired of working on massive productions. So this kind of might help that it's like, it's kind of a living world that you can continually update as opposed to make this massive game. Then you have a massive game next year, massive game next year, massive game next year.
Yeah, that you're building everything from the ground up every time gets a little tiring.
Yeah,
it's cool. It's exciting.
They reuse the engine, but like, yes, for the most part, yeah, that's a lot. So yeah, it is interesting. Yeah, there's not a ton of other additional information I saw about it. It was just that main part. Basically, it's an evolving platform in multiple settings. The games are connected but feel and look different. So it's going to be like a live service platform for Assassin's Creed and the future Assassin's Creed. So each game, so they'll kind of all be interconnected, inspired by GTA Online, Fortnite, and Quebec and Montreal working together because they have Ubisoft Quebec and Ubisoft Montreal are separate, so they're both working on this.
Has Assassin's Creed had like a big online multiplayer thing before?
No, they did try Unity, which was an epic failure. Assassin's Creed Unity, which is the 4-person online like co-op one that like just fucking failed. They patched the shit out of it to where it wasn't terrible, but
like Avengers.
Yeah. What?
Like Avengers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, yeah. Yes. Well, now I would say Avengers is good. I would still say Assassin's Creed Unity is bad. It's like Cyberpunk.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard to get back like that. You were riding on that wave of excitement, like
I wanted
people
to be
buying
so
like the
good.
game, and whether or not you make it great later, it is really hard to get back that like initial.
It's hard to get you back into it, and that's. I mean, luckily they released some cool stuff for example, Avengers. But like for the record, I did say I think when we did the podcast about it,
absolutely did.
I was like, it will be the game I want it to be in like a year and a half.
Yeah,
and like because it's like I just knew I was like it's just gonna. I could see what this needs, and it's just gonna be that. So it is what it is, and you're absolutely right. That's exactly, and you kind of lose something. You also lose trust in fans when you make a new game because then they're kind of like CD Projekt Red's new Witcher game or whatever. It's like, is Cyberpunk going to affect some of that? Probably. Yeah. Like who knows? Ubisoft. Oh, I just wanted to read the last quote. Aims to exceed the expectation of fans who have been asking for a more cohesive approach to the series. And then it goes into the sexual misconduct allegations, which is like fucked up. I'm just trying to get updates about the game.
When you're trying to compare it to Grand Theft Auto and Fortnite, like what does that look like?
I think they just mean an existing online base that you update seasonally, like season 7 of Fortnite.
Yeah. I just don't know what that looks like in a game for Assassin's Creed. Does that just mean everyone's like running around, jumping on buildings, parkouring themselves, and
honestly, I think it's gonna be similar to like I think they should have used Destiny as like an example where there's like worlds where you're like your own area,
and even then like a game that's based on stealth,
but now it's like everybody has
traversal
lineage
and stuff like that.
But everybody has lineage of assassins, so it's like it kind of plays into that.
I guess I don't know, like
in the game. I'm not saying
I haven't played enough Assassins to know like for sure, but all of them seem more close combat. Like they're not a lot of like guns and bows and arrows and stuff like that.
Oh no, recently it's in a ton of that.
And
stuff. And like I would say the last two, which are the better ones, like Odyssey and stuff like that, are like that. I mean, Black Flag, you get the whole ship combat stuff with the cannons and stuff like that. And and they're like large scale games. It is a lot of close combat, but a ton of range combat as well.
Yeah.
You can kind of play.
I mean, have
however you want
those
now.
had like successful online?
They don't have any online. None of those have.
Yeah, I
So
just
it's-
don't know how it's going to
interesting.
translate. It sounds like a cash grab. It sounds like they're taking the most
It is
popular
1000% a cash grab.
Yeah. Just
I
taking
mean,
the
you
most
mentioned
popular
2
thing they
cash
have.
cows
Yeah.
as like their examples. Like it's like okay, we got it. I think it. I don't know. I think it would be good as like a Destiny thing. I could see it, whereas like you have like the
Let me
staging
put it this
area.
way. I think it's going to be as successful as the movie.
Well, the movie was terrible, but the recent games have been really good and sold really well, and it's like this kind of
Definitely
would give
that, yeah.
this kind of would give less stress on the developers to not have to make like an Odyssey every fucking other year or whatever, or
Yeah.
Black Flag. But it's kind of like, oh, we're gonna have the DLC to add that new storyline where you jump into the different year of the assassin.
Yeah.
And they'll be different. Like that's why I think it makes more sense as a Destiny thing where there's basically different staging areas.
Yeah.
And then you have your own instance where you can play with yourself or another assassin, and they'll kind of bring back the Unity stuff and hopefully test it this time. That's kind of what I think it might go. And to me, that's interesting and could actually work because they have weaving that into the story, how like it's always like a different person you're going back to
Yeah.
in time. So it's like there could be all these other assassins.
It's also interesting because
But I don't know. Who knows?
once you
They don't
start
say you're
doing
going
it
to play
more,
against each other, though. It never mentions that it's like
oh, okay.
assassin on assassin combat.
Huh.
That's why I think it's more like Destiny. Because you don't really play against other people in Destiny unless you're playing Crucible, which is like just middle.
Yeah.
But the game story of it is like the hub worlds, and then you go do your own thing.
Interesting.
So I think it's gonna be more of that.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean,
It also, like,
Bloomberg's knows more than me. I
The
guess.
more it gets like episodic and stuff like that, the more it starts to remind me of Time Splitters.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Where I mean, yeah, both games
in
kind
a
of
way.
seem like they're inspired off of each other type thing. But
Yeah, I can see that.
if
No, I can
it's
see where you're
if
making the
every level
association.
is a different thing, then instead of having a whole world that's explored every game
Yeah.
that comes out, that's when it starts to feel like that was what was interesting about Time Splitters, is just hopping between the game
the different
changed
historical
every
events. Yeah. I don't think the gameplay changes though. That's the thing to the historical events. Not in Time Splitters. In Assassin's Creed, I think it'll be feel the same. But I think that's a good point. I think it's a better point for a new Time Splitters.
Yeah.
But one more thing, and then we'll get into the last bit of news. Because I forgot to mention this last week, and it kind of goes. So Dead Space 4 rumors keep swirling around.
Yep.
Only additional thing is, they updated the profile picture of Dead
On their
Space on their
YouTube
YouTube
And how
for
many
the first
years
time
has
in
it been?
7 years. So 8 years. First update in 8 years.
Nice.
So it is kind of fueling more expectation. It's like, why would you do that? So now everybody's like watching that. That's it. That's the whole thing. And another quick thing I guess we could say is to make Battlefield maps for their Battlefield modes and stuff like that. It takes 6 to 12 months for one map. Because that's how large and how much they think of like being a destructible environment, everything that's going on in those.
Yeah, it kind of makes sense, I guess.
It's not like Call of Duty where you just put them in there and the maps are living. They're like another game in each map, which is so cool. So the fact that they take half a year to a full year for each map, that dedication, it's awesome. And the fact that they took this long to make this game, each one of those maps, it's going to be awesome. And they keep talking about they're bringing back some 1942 maps as well and some old school ones.
Okay. That's kind of fun.
Might be some Battlefield 2 and 3
Yeah.
maps in there.
With
just
like
like
a
fan,
little
fan
destruction.
favorite maps. Yeah.
Maybe
basically.
not fully destructible, but
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. They said they're going to bring back fan favorite maps. So I'm thinking of El Alamein in 1942 was my number one map. And I'm like, if I could get that, that would be fucking so cool. Just even if it wasn't destructible, I'm sure it will be because they that's like their thing.
yeah.
But just the scale of that in the new graphics end, because it has been like so long, to see that would be fucking sick.
Yeah.
All right, so let's talk Nintendo because that's what Sage wants to talk about. And we should. There's an update. We got
there
news.
is. Yes, there is.
It's dumb as fuck,
It kind of is.
and it's it is the most meh. Like, who gives a shit?
Yeah.
But they're prompting it like it's the second coming. So what am I talking about? I'm talking about we heard for rumors forever, and it's also some of it is like fucking rumors
Yeah.
ruined the actual product, you guys.
Yeah.
Because it got everybody got hyped. They're like, yes, we're in that 4K model. It's going to do this. We don't need anything else, but at least let it output the 4K when it's in the station.
Yeah.
Like, so we can kind of, everybody's got 4K TVs now.
And
They're
shit, just
cheaper. It's more
upscale it,
accessible.
like-
Yeah. Like, let's just have that. They didn't do that. So basically it's a 7-inch OLED model.
Yep.
That's it. It's a better screen. Basically, it's a better screen handheld wide. It's a slightly bigger. I think it went from 6.2 to 7 inches.
Okay.
Measured on the diagonal, so it's 0.8 bigger, which is nice and definitely better when you're carrying around. The screen, OLED, it's a better looking screen. The colors are going to be brighter. The grass is literally greener. And, you know, it just shows more pixels. So that is nice. And when you plug it in, it does 1080p 60 now.
Okay.
So 1080p 60 frames per second, which is also great. Because I think it was like 1080 30 or was it 720 30 before that? I think it was 1080 30.
1080. Yeah.
1080 30.
That's like a step back if it's 7.
Right. I mean, so
Yeah.
is it better? Yes.
It's meant for the handheld players, and like that's just
Yes.
not how I play it, so it doesn't matter to me.
Right, and that's the update. I mean, that's the entire, and they sold it like this is the, and it's also like this is a mid-round update. Like it's been out for a few years. This is like when the PS4 Pro came out, right? They're like, but you can do 4K, it can do all this. Xbox One X could do 4K, all that. They're like, we can do 60 frames per second, 1080p when plugged in, and we have a brighter screen. That's essentially what it is.
Yeah.
That's a slight bit. So is it better when you're traveling?
It's
Yes.
a brighter screen. It does have better dynamic range. That it's not backlit, and I'm assuming that since it's not backlit, you're also saving a shit ton on battery life.
Well, yeah, they updated the battery, so it's a little bit longer battery, which is basically.
And they might not have even updated the battery that much. Just switching from LCD to OLED.
Well, save a ton. Yeah,
yeah.
it saves a ton. Oh, and they also, I forgot, they added a adjustable stand on the back, so you can like make it wide, so you can put it down. Yeah. But that's like Nintendo's tweet, which shares the most notable thing is Nintendo Switch OLED. Also, the name of it is terrible. It's Nintendo Switch OLED model. That is like the least creative thing ever.
There's something very Japanese about it.
I guess. But a Nintendo Switch OLED model brings the versatility of the Nintendo Switch experience with vibrant 7-inch OLED screen, a wide adjustable stand, and more. That's the tweet.
Yeah.
And it comes out October 8th, which is great. But it's like, it's cool that it's coming out this year. It's $350. I don't know how much more is that than the original. I think the original
believe
was
it's $300 now. I'm
yeah,
not
so
sure,
it's like $50 more. It comes with 64 gigs of internal storage. So it comes with that. It does come with a 64 gig internal storage. They enhance the audio.
Yeah. See,
but again, it's all handheld stuff. Oh, and they added a wired LAN port.
64 gigs of internal storage is pathetic.
Yeah, I mean,
just build in a $6 512.
But that's not an SSD, and they need an SSD.
So, yeah, but you still need to buy. Like most of the games you keep on a card are, it's physical.
Yeah, but
or it's it's solid state. No,
I think the 64 is a
if you
built-in
buy-
SSD, is what they're talking about.
Either way,
whereas
if
the other
you
one
buy
doesn't have that. You need
if
the, you
you
need the
buy
chip.
like an extra card,
yeah,
that you're playing games off of that card. That's what you download it to.
right.
So I don't understand why, even if you have that 64 SSD and then build in some extra storage.
Yeah,
like,
it could just,
if you go
come with a
online-
128 card.
If yeah,
in the
exactly.
box.
If you go online and just like get a state of the art, like highest speed micro SD card, 128 gigs is like $12. It is pathetically affordable. And
So
the fact
it
that
is $300, so it's $50 more, which is, you do get a better model of it. It's the one to get. And the 64 gigs of internal storage, the other one came with like 8.
Yeah.
So is it better? Sure. I mean, again, but that's the whole point.
Yeah,
And
it's
like what you're
almost
saying.
like they
And they
sandbag the
add
original.
the wired LAN point to the dock. The dock you can now hardwire in, because I guess people hated that it was just Wi-Fi only. So it's like now there's a LAN port.
Gotcha.
The dock didn't have a LAN port before, so it's like,
Yeah.
Okay.
It never really slowed me down, but it was literally
But some
2
people
feet
hate
from
some
my
people hate
router.
that.
So
Yeah. So it's like, all right. But that's the thing. It's like, why are we saying, all right, like, like to
yeah,
this?
you're fucking Nintendo. Do something.
It's
like that
it's pretty
meme where
sad.
it's like the little kid poking the rock, and it's like, do something. Like,
Yeah. Oh, and they have a white model of it. So it's the red, blue, and then there's a white model of it.
oh,
So
yeah.
that's like
Yeah.
what they noticed. I'm on their website.
The
and that's
only
like what
thing
they
I will say in
promote.
defense of everything is that, like, we are also the 30-somethings still playing Nintendo games where
Yeah.
it's a family console and a lot of kids get it. A lot of parents get it for their kids.
Yeah.
Because it's
very
something
family
that,
friendly.
like, they have family friendly games. You can play a lot of stuff. And when you're a little kid playing this, you're not hooking it up to your parents' TV and kicking them off Sports Center. You were
Yeah.
in the corner fucking playing it by yourself on headphones. And if that experience is so much better from an extra 0.8 inches with OLED, then it could very well be like a
Right.
cool.
It's this is great for handheld people. Handheld people are like, this is awesome. Travel people are like, this is great. But if you're a gamers, like real gamers,
Yeah.
this means essentially nothing. The 1080p 60 is great, but like
Yeah.
you said,
I also
they
just
could have at least
remembered that
included
I
a-
have a
a
Switch
card.
now to take on a plane.
yeah, they could have at least included. I agree. The 64 gigs of internal storage is good, but you could like include like that chip card.
This
with
is
it.
2021.
And just be like, it's
That
400
number
bucks.
is not impressive.
Yeah, it's $400, $350. Also, you can make the screen that you walk around with 1080p. Why the fuck can it not? Like, granted, most TVs and stuff will do upscaling to 4K, but why can you not just add a 4K chip in that dock that like has a little bit of additional power to update to kind of push it out? And it's like
Yeah.
that's what they should have done. It's like we're getting a 4K 30, like not 4K 60, obviously.
Yeah, I don't know
There's
how
no-
that works with just a dock, but even just an upscale, like
But that's what the PSVR did. I mean, if that's VR box handled some of it, and the PS4 PS4 Pro handled the rest.
okay.
So, but the dock had
A little extra processing power.
some tech in it to process some things. It's like the dock could do. That's why it's 1080p 60 out of the dock, because the dock does have some processing power.
Yeah.
So it's like, why the fuck couldn't you just make it for? It didn't even need like, or just like at least supported upscaling, so the TV doesn't have to do all of it.
Exactly.
Like, it just
yeah.
makes like, and I get it. It's like, well, it's like Mario jumping around. It's like, yeah, but dude, that still looks fucking awesome. Like,
Yeah.
have you played like Bug Snacks, bitch? Looks great in 4K. So like,
Yeah.
I don't know. It's kind of like
Well, I mean, shit. Ratchet and Clank is a perfect
Ratchet and
example.
Clank is amazing. Yeah, that's exactly. What am I talking about? But it was never gonna be 4K 60 with ray tracing and shit. But like, you could at least do 4K 30
Yeah. I would
for
I would love
350. Also,
any of those
350
Zelda
bucks.
games.
Yeah.
Any of those Zelda. Or, I mean, Breath of the Wild. I don't know why I'm
Right,
saying
yeah.
any.
But
But,
well,
like-
Breath of the Wild 2 is coming out, so there will be multiple.
Yeah.
A
But
multitude
opening
of
that up, like, that is the first thing I wanted. I think I have said it on here before, but I bought this big ass 65-inch TV, and
them
then
to play Zelda.
I got
Yeah,
the first
For,
thing.
so 65-inch 4K TV.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. And then which it was still a beautiful game. I love the size of it. Like
Yeah.
the TV lended to the expansiveness of that game, but it was just like
You want the 4K?
not as
I
sharp
got a
as it
4K
could be.
TV.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that makes complete sense. You want to push it. You're like, I bought this so I can see this.
yeah.
I don't want to just upscale it. I want its rendering at what I'm giving.
Yeah.
Granted, 4K 60, PS5, Xbox, Series X, $400, $500, $500 for the physical ones. The digital, that's the other problem I have with it. The digital PS5, which is 4K 60, is $400. This is $350.
Yeah.
It's a $50 difference. Your other model is $300. Make a $400 version of this that's 4K.
Please.
And I get what they're doing. They're like, well, the OLED was probably expensive. Sure, but I mean, get the fuck out of here. It's just so bad. I don't know. And it's like, they'll get it. Like, they were never going to be the top of the technology, which is so funny because they used to be N64 and when they were the first like 64-bit they were like pushing that.
Yeah.
And when you get perfect dark, you had to get the 128-bit like update and stuff like that. So
Yep.
it was like the graphics processor update. So it's like, you guys at one point gave a shit about graphics.
I mean, there's your perfect example of a processor. The fact that like you could get that like cartridge to
put
the
there.
game in, then you can.
It was like Perfect Dark will not work unless you buy
Yeah.
the whatever it was called. I think it was, what was that? It was the
Power Pack or some extra.
I think it was just called the expansion pack.
Okay.
Yep, the N64 expansion pack, which sells for $70 right now.
Which, if you want to stop talking about it, brings us quite well to our next bit of Nintendo news.
Yeah, I just, but they gave a shit about graphics before. Is my point. Everybody's like, it's Nintendo. They care about gameplay. I'm like, they used to care about both.
Yeah.
They used to. The GameCube, they cared about both.
Yep.
The Dreamcast, they cared about both. But that's Sega. But they also cared.
Yeah.
But the Dreamcast, they cared about both.
Yeah.
It wasn't until the Wii they didn't give a fuck about graphics anymore.
I mean, even the Wii was like still relatively competitive.
Not to the level of PS3 and Xbox One.
Yeah, well, at least the graphic specs were in range. Like,
no, they were like half. It was like the current against the Switch.
Oh, really? It wasn't 1080 for the Wii U.
The Wii U might have been, but not the Wii.
Okay.
The Wii, which the Wii U sold like 6 copies. That was like a massive. But that's like that's what I'm saying. It's just like whenever it's like, oh, it's about game, like Nintendo people, and
they
I'm not trying to
put
rant,
as much effort into naming stuff as they do their actual production.
Which also
of
they
the thing.
fucked up the Wii because the original name of the Wii was the Nintendo Revolution, which sounded fucking awesome.
Yeah,
because it was revolutionizing the way we played games. I mean, it really did.
Yeah,
effectively well. And it's still used today.
Yeah,
like
I mean, the nunchuck is like the predecessor of all the 3D or the VR stuff that we have nowadays.
Right. The PlayStation Move controllers are ripoffs of the nunchuck.
Yeah, and
then the Xbox Kinect was basically, let's do it without that. We're using a 3D depth can. And then the Switch, nunchucks are based off the nunchucks. Like, I mean, it's just...
Yep.
Revolution was a way cooler name. We will play. That's so fucking... like, But anyways, it doesn't matter. My point is, they used to care about both. And I'm sick and tired of people who just defend certain games, and generally Nintendo games. I love Nintendo, but like... It's about gameplay
they're
and
really
story.
It's
always about game. They always say it's about gameplay. It's about gameplay. I'm like, why are you acting like Sony and Xbox do not give a fuck about gameplay? Yeah. Their gameplay is incredible and it looks great. You don't have to do both, right? You don't have to do both, but you can. And Ratchet and Clank is what Nintendo could be with everything.
Yeah.
Maybe they don't want to. And I love the Switch. But it's just annoying that this Switch could have been like, you don't need it. We have a Switch.
Yeah.
But this is this is the expansion pack Switch, right?
Yep.
They made that for Perfect fucking Dark. It's 64. It's like, so stop telling me they don't give a fuck about graphics. They fucking gave a shit about graphics, and they were well at it. N64 was awesome. It was it was the most graphical console out of the time. So they just like lost that. And it's like, you could still do the gameplay with that. So anyways, it's OLED Switch. It's great for handheld people. It's brighter. The grass is greener. Fuck off. It's all right. Let's just this.
There's your rant. Delete the whole thing in the beginning.
Yes. That I didn't even know that was coming. That was just all like just out of the gate. What did you want to talk? What are we?
We did touch about on it, and Zelda and reselling old.
Right. Yes,
shit.
an old Zelda game cartridge sold for $870,000.
Yeah.
A seal. For the record, it's a sealed. It's Zelda 1. So the Legend of Zelda NES. When they gave a shit about graphics, Zelda sold for $870,000.
It's amazing.
Incredible, dude.
The fact that
I wish I had that much money to buy my favorite game for.
Buy a house, like.
But if you have that money, like that guy's a billionaire or like a heavy multi-million. Because if you can spend almost $1 million on like what I assume is his favorite game or one of them, like I would do that. Atari 2600 Wizard of War, first game I ever played. With my dad, I have it with the 2600 in the closet behind stage. I would buy that for $1 million, without a question.
Yeah.
If I had like $500 million, right? And then I'd be like, yeah, dude, I can spend that because that's like stupid money that I have, right?
Yeah.
If I had $4 million, I would not do that.
Absolutely
I would
not.
spend $50,000 on it.
The fact
But-
that this thing is going to be sitting on somebody's shelf in their
Oh, you're not
giant,
gonna play it sealed
in
Yeah,
their
yeah.
giant house, and it's worth like several times more than my house.
For the record, we're assuming in his giant house. If this is like I'm not buying a house and I'm renting and living in my mom's basement to buy this, it's like, bro.
I doubt that's the way it is, but yeah, that would be borderline pathetic.
Or it's like,
yeah.
remember when NFTs were a thing?
Yeah.
That 2 months of shit. I mean, unless they're like, yeah, it's 870 today, but tomorrow it's gonna be 1.5. It's like, maybe. I doubt it.
No,
It's
yeah,
like, I think we're reaching the. It's like the real estate market right now. It's like, I think we're hitting the bubble.
Yeah.
I think we're there. I mean, granted, some people make a lot of money by betting you're not there. Feels like we're there. I don't know, but fucking awesome. I would do the same if I had an outrageous amount of money.
Yeah.
Like that's. But fucking good for that guy.
Yeah.
It's
I don't know too. Like it's one thing to like seal away like a card, like having that Charizard in there.
yeah.
I mean, it's a card. It's
The holographic Charizard, like the Japanese
Yeah.
one, that they was like, oh my god, that's like whatever. Yeah.
but like I mean that thing.
Oh, Jay and the beer.
That thing is made to look at. I mean, like technically you can play it like with the other cards and
You
stuff
can play
like
it
that.
sealed, yeah, because
You can, but like for a video game, there is
it's just a look.
no practical value once it's sealed away. Like you don't
Also,
even,
the box isn't. It's a gold box with like a shield on it.
yeah, you don't even get to see the cartridge itself.
Right. That's what I'm
It
saying.
ruins it if you do see the cartridge. Like
Yeah. It's
theoretically, if someone was really good at like putting shit back together, it could be a ET cartridge in there, and no one would be the wiser because it's gonna stay there for fucking ever.
That's true. It did have the sealed whatever recognition, like
Yeah.
grade A thing, but yeah, I mean yeah, I don't get it. I mean, it would be more like because even I understand like Funko Pops, like I have those.
Yeah,
I don't open, but I can see the Funko Pop, and I don't like play with them. So it's like it
yeah.
doesn't
You're
matter.
not sitting
To me, it
there
doesn't
like,
matter if it's in the box or not because it almost does the same thing. It's just that it takes up slightly more room in the box.
Yeah,
But I can still see it, right? I don't
Exactly.
see anything with
Yeah.
Zelda.
Yep.
So Zelda might actually have been better as an NFT. But like anyways,
yeah.
whatever. Let's
I
get
think
to
there's
it.
something to be said for like NFTs for just like destroying whatever that is. Like if it was an NFT of that game burning up, and it's just like it's digital now. It's in the whatever NFT sphere. I mean, that's definitely a bit nihilist of me, but at the same time, like that has just as much value as sealing it away forever and never playing it.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that. Oh, sorry, I was looking at my trivia and I'm like, what do I want to ask? I have an interesting one. So
Okay.
I might have to have you go first.
Well, I don't have anything, so
All right, then I guess I'll go first. All right, so NPD, but not how you know it. So the new report, the
Trying
top
to
10 list
decide
is
if
not
that's
out.
better or worse.
The top 10 list is not out. But the first quarter earnings is out for 2021 of video game products. Okay. So in the first quarter of 2021, January to March, how much was the overall total consumer spending on video games in the U.S.? In the U.S. I want a dollar amount, by the way.
yeah. $7.3 billion.
I'm going to ask you, where did my pen go?
Here.
Give me that pen. Yeah. All right.
$7.3 billion.
Okay. Q1 2021, say it's 7.3B.
Three.
All right. Q1 2020.
When did the pandemic start? Or when was the lockdown order?
March. It would have been the end of quarter one.
Let's go 8 bill. 8 billion.
So for the record, you thought it was more in 2020 quarter one than in 2021.
Yeah, I'm not super confident about it, but I know that it was when people knew they were locked down, it was a fucking madhouse.
Okay. So what do you think about?
And that's the most games I've bought in the past 10 years. I spent like $200 because I knew I was going to be locked inside.
What do you think about content spending?
What do you mean by that?
Just 2021. So
Like-
spending on the content. So subscription spending, stuff like that. Like Game Pass would be
Yep.
that, buying a loot box on Fortnite.
Okay. I'm going to go 20 billion.
Okay. And
I don't want it to be, but
I don't
know
have the
way
exact number for 2020, but you're wrong, so it doesn't really matter. In 2021, first quarter 2021, overall total consumer spending on video game in the U.S. totaled $14.92 billion,
Oh, all right.
an increase of 30% over Q1 2020.
Interesting.
Yeah. Now, that's almost 15, 30% increase. It could be close to 8, actually, or 9. So you might have actually nailed it. I don't feel like doing that math right now, but it's actually pretty
right.
close. You were actually
We could
close.
just say I'm right.
If we say we gave you like a 1 to 2 billion plus minus, you'd be correct. So we'll
All
just say you're right. Way off for this year, but which I thought you would have guessed higher.
Yeah.
It was weird that you guessed lower this 2021 than 2020. I thought that was interesting
I just thought
because money
that
was more up in the air when we were locked down and didn't know where to spend.
This is true, but people
Yeah.
were also getting their stimmies.
That's true. Oh, we just got a new round in December that would have affected January to March.
You are correct.
Content spending in Q1. So this is gains we're also seeing in
So was
digital
that
console,
I-
PC
I'm
content, mobile.
misunderstood? I thought it was the other number was just games sold, but you're saying that's everything profit.
That was total consumer spending on video games, like getting the games.
Oh, okay. All right, never mind then.
This is gains we're also seeing on digital console, PC content, mobile subscription spending, as well as hardware and accessory
okay.
categories. Content spending Q1 was 12.8 billion as well. So that's on top of the 14. A 25% increase over Q1 2020. Hardware and accessories also experienced double-digit percentage gains in the first quarter. So I will tell you this. This will be the last piece of trivia. I just thought this was more interesting trivia.
Yeah. Do not take
you
my
already
yawn
know-
as
So 2021. So 2021, I already told you, has an increase of 2020.
yeah.
What is the percent increase of hardware percentage gains and accessory percentage gains? So I need two numbers. Both are double digits.
Of the whole year or just first quarter? Well, I guess it has
Just
to
a
be first
Q1.
quarter.
Q1. Yeah, we haven't finished the year yet. I don't know where the fuck you've been, bud. We're barely finishing Q. We just finished Q2 actually.
I'm gonna say
Hardware first, then accessories.
percentage.
Give me. And they're both double digits. They're gains of double digit gains.
Hardware, I'm gonna say like 35.
Okay.
Um,
And remember, it was a 30% increase in consumer spending on video games and a 25% increase on content spending.
yeah, I'm gonna go 35 still.
Okay.
Just because we have all the
Yeah, I was just reiterating.
drops. Yep. Then accessories.
Mhm.
Um,
Peripherals. Visions.
I'm gonna be a little more conservative and say 22%.
I also mentioned those two things because of how ridiculous the hardware one is. Hardware has an increase of 81%. 81% gains in Q1.
I mean, I guess that makes sense with the consoles. Like,
yeah, they're coming out, but it's like you can't fucking get them. But it's like that does make sense because like when they are out there, like let's get them. And also, if you think they didn't exist in Q1 2020,
yeah,
they
Like,
came
people are
out.
still
They came out
buying stuff,
Q4
but-
2020. So,
Yeah.
and then 42% in accessories.
damn.
Which so they were even higher than the 25 and 30% of the other stuff. So
Yeah.
but what does all this mean? It means 2021 is having the best year of quarter one in gaming history. Like it is just going off the charts right now, and it's because consumer spending on video game products continued to thrive third quarter, delivering record results from Matt Piscatella, and he's the game industry analyst for NPDs.
Yep.
While we are still seeing elevated rates of both engagement and spending resulting from changes in consumer behavior driven consumer-driven behavior from the pandemic. We are also seeing cyclical gains from the November launches of both PS5 and Xbox Series consoles. The growth driven by these new platforms, combined with the gains experienced in mobile, PC, and VR content spending, as well as the continued strength of the Nintendo Switch, have pushed the market to new highs. I mean, the game industry has been the largest entertainment industry for the last few years now.
Yeah.
I think it's like last 6-7 years. This is just like, it's like Hollywood is nothing. It's like, and it's so funny that it's like, oh, you guys are gamers. It's like, everybody's like, I've seen the numbers, you son of a bitch.
Yeah.
Nobody's not a gamer.
Yeah.
And that includes you playing Bubble Witch on your phone.
Yeah. Well, you're
It's the
taking
same-
a shit.
Yeah, exactly. Or playing Farmville on Facebook,
Yeah.
which was like a hack, by the
Yeah.
way. Remember that back in the
Just
day?
because you waste your time on a stupider game than I do,
Yeah.
doesn't mean that you're not a gamer.
Yeah, you son of a bitch. We might not respect you, but
Yeah.
still a gamer.
No,
You know?
but that's the thing. It's those people throwing shade where they're like,
Right, well,
oh,
yeah.
you're a fucking gamer. You're going to sit there on your couch and play fucking Breath
Ratchet
of the
and Clank,
Wild,
yeah.
Zelda, a Nintendo game for 12
child.
hours. Yeah. And then go, sit. Yeah. And
Sorry, I got to get my Clash of Clans needs my help real quick.
yeah, exactly.
Fuck you. Also, you're probably spending more money on that than I actually did on this. So,
Yep.
who's the real fucker?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, on that note, we're glad you game,
We are.
and
we are
we
glad
love to
you
give
game.
you shit, but we love it.
Yeah.
We're glad about it.
The
and that's
American
all.
economy is glad you game.
Oh, you fucking right it is. You hear those number? Almost 15 billion. Let's go. Q2. Let's amp it up.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. Well, thanks everybody for another electric episode, and we'll talk to you later. Bye.